You're deep underground, hunting for a legendary treasure that could change the fate of an entire kingdom. The air is heavy, the silence is deafening, and then you hear a rhythmic, heavy scuttling. You turn around, and the actual stone wall of the corridor has detached itself from the foundation. It sprouts dozens of jagged metallic spider legs, raises two massive, intricately carved cleavers, and begins aggressively marching right toward you. There's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, and the ceiling is practically brushing against its crown. But you have exactly a few minutes to destroy it before it grinds you into a fine paste against the doorway behind you. That is the demon wall from Final Fantasy XII, and for anyone who played the game, this single encounter was pure, unadulterated psychological warfare. It is, without a doubt, the absolute definitive design of this recurring franchise monster. And today, we're going to break down why this architectural nightmare is a masterpiece of gaming history and the terrifying lore secrets hidden behind its stone face. Look at the sheer detail of this thing. It's got this weathered, dark stone texture that makes it look like it's been marinating in a forgotten tomb for thousands of years. It features a terrifying, multi-eyed, beastly face, crowned with an ornate, golden, tiara-like structure that screams ancient royalty. Then you look down, and instead of just sliding across the floor, it scuttles on a terrifying mass of segmented, spike-covered legs that look like a cross between a centipede and a siege weapon. And to top it off, it's got these two massive, curved executioner swords held by stone arms. It doesn't just block your path, it actively cuts you down to size. Talk about hitting a literal brick wall. The sheer impact of its sudden appearance completely shattered the composure of our heroes. Ban Ash, Balthier, they entered the tomb of Wraithwall thinking they're exploring a sacred, silent monument to a dead king. Instead, they're immediately plunged into a claustrophobic, high-stakes sprint for survival. There's an absolute sense of panic that this encounter builds. In a game known for its massive, wide-open plains and tactical combat, where you can usually run away from danger, this fight completely flips the script. It forces you into a narrow hallway with a literal deadline. The psychological trauma of having a piece of the environment itself awaken to slaughter you is unmatched. It instantly establishes that the Tomb of Wraithwall isn't just an old building. It is an active, hostile organism designed to chew up grave robbers and spit them out. It's a masterclass in using boss placement to build tension and influence the player's psychological state. But beyond the heart-pounding gameplay, the actual lore behind this monster is incredibly fascinating. Why does it exist, and why does it look exactly like that? To understand the wall, you have to understand the man who built the tomb, King Wraithwall, the Dynast King. He was a legendary conqueror who united the continent using the unfathomable power of cosmic stones called Nethicite. He wasn't just a powerful king, he was viewed almost as a living god. When he built his final resting place, he didn't just want to keep out common thieves, he wanted to secure the ultimate weapon of his lineage, the Dusk Shard. The Demon Wall isn't just a random monster that moved in, it is an autonomous, magical defense system created by ancient magics. Look at the regal divine imagery carved into its face. It was deliberately sculpted to resemble a wrathful, multi-limbed deity, symbolizing the absolute, unyielding authority of the Dynast King. It is a visual statement. To defy this wall is to defy the God King himself. And here's where the lore gets really brilliant, specifically regarding why there are actually two of these things lurking inside the tomb. From a purely mechanical standpoint, you encounter the first one right as you enter. And for most players arriving there for the first time, it is an absolute super boss. It moves incredibly fast, hits like a runaway freight train, and almost forces you to turn tail and run through the nearest door to escape. Once you escape into the next room, you immediately encounter a second, slightly slower and more manageable demon wall that you actually have to defeat to progress. Now, looking at this through the lens of internal lore rather than just gameplay balance, Wraithwall's architectural layout is an act of pure tactical genius. Think about it. If you are an invading army or a group of highly skilled infiltrators, you breach the tomb and are immediately confronted by the first hyper-aggressive wall. It doesn't just try to kill you, it forces you to make a split-second choice. If you try to fight it head-on, you will likely be crushed and annihilated by its overwhelming speed. Your only real option is to flee deeper into the tomb. By doing this, the first wall acts as a brilliant psychological filtration system. It panics the intruders, shatters their formation, forces them to expend their precious magical resources, and drives them like cattle straight into the next chamber. And what's waiting for them right when they think they've escaped? The second wall. You're trapped in a secondary bottleneck, exhausted, terrified, and completely disoriented, making you easy pickings for the second line of defense. It's an ancient multi-tiered security system designed to exploit human panic and break an enemy's spirit before they can even catch their breath. Wraithwall wasn't just building a tomb, he was weaponizing the very architecture against the human psyche. That is why this specific incarnation of the demon wall remains unmatched. It takes an old-school gaming trope and elevates it into something truly iconic, proving that sometimes the most terrifying thing in a dungeon is the very structure holding it together.